Hello friends, and welcome back for some more Battle Brothers with the Legends and PTR mods. Now I'm still hurt about how the Legio X series ended so quickly, but as I said in the last episode of the series, I learned a lot about the enemies, about the perks, and about some of the synergies that I was not taking advantage of, and also relearned how the weapons worked. I think my first attempt at PTR and Legends combination with those kinds of restrictions, going for phalanx, having a lot of spears and swords, didn't give me the rounded out knowledge that I wanted to gain, and I feel like it might have been jumping the gun to give myself sort of build restrictions for the first time around in PTR. Again, that said, I did learn a lot, and we will come back to a Legion style series. It's just going to take some more time for me to learn more about it and understand these synergies. Which brings me to how I'm going to handle this series, and that's going to be trying a bit harder to dive deeper into the synergies and planning out how the brothers are going to be built. The perk trees are going to be built for each brother and sister, and so I'm bringing on another mod that was suggested by Ubermensch in the PTR Discord. Now he's one of the developers of the PTR mod and was a great amount of help through my Legio X series. So thanks again for that help. Just wanted to say that out loud and on the record. Now, where are we going with this series? We're going for the Oathtakers. Now, I did a lot of testing and trying to understand what the Oathtakers bring to the game, but I never fulfilled an oath. I wanted to kind of keep that still a surprise for me. I do know that it takes about, I think it's 10 days for the oath to be fulfilled or failed. I'm not sure if you can actually fail, and I'm hoping that I don't ever find that out, but there are levels of success, I believe, from my understanding on how the oath system work. The oaths is a replacement for the ambition in vanilla Battle Brothers. So we're not going to be seeing any ambitions, we're only going to be seeing oaths. And of course the Oathtakers origin comes from the Of Faith and Flesh DLC that came out recently. They're going to be called the Light's Revenge, and we're going to shoot for a greenskin invasion. Now I'm hoping this series will allow me to provide some revenge to avenge the fallen Legio X. Will the Light's Revenge provide that for me? We'll just have to see. We'll be going expert as usual with high starting funds, random map seed, and I've realized that we can't change these. It says that they are locked for stability. I wonder how unstable this makes. I assume landmass and water and snowline, maybe these can provide some instabilities, but the number of settlements, sure, I could see if this went all the way to the max, but factions and settlements, I typically like to increase both of them so I'm not cutting off an entire third of the map when I inevitably attack one of the factions. But it's not allowing me to do that. I would like it to be 4 or 5. 5 is ideal for me, so that I can attack 1 or 2 factions if I please and have more control over the map that way. I don't ever really check these, and I won't uncheck any of these, though I've seen in the past that by unclicking world economy that there's more stability later in the game. I'm not sure if that's still the issue, so I'm just going to unclick world economy this time around. Okay, let's jump into Light's Revenge. You knew the game well, and like any good game, you got burned out on the rules and the rule setters. Oaths for this, oaths for that. All you knew is you never got to hold young Anselm's skull, and last you saw some Oathbringer had stolen off with the lad's preeminent jaw. Leaving the Oathtakers was the best decision you ever made, if only to preserve what little sanity you had left. And on it goes, let us scour these lands for the honorable, and be diligent in our tasks, and may we ever make a young Anselm whole again from the rat bastard Oathbringers who broke him, for gold, for glory, and for young Anselm. And here we go. Now, let's take a look at the brothers really quickly. I guess brother and sister, maybe? 2 sisters. Wonderful. So, how this other perk works is called Plan Your Perks. It's on the Nexus website. And basically it gives me the ability to right-click on these perks to show the path that I've planned for the brother or sister, the build plan. And I like this because it's going to give me the opportunity, one, to remember, because I'm really bad at remembering anyway what my path is going to be, what the build is, but it's also going to show you my plans, and maybe we can discuss why I'm making a poor choice or a good choice. And these discussions can be in the comment section below, or you can join me on my new Discord channel. The link to that is in the description as well. Now keep in mind that what one person might think is the best choice might not be what another person's idea is, so just keep that in mind. Friendly and open commentary is very welcome here. Now how I'm going to use this is actually the backwards way. It suggests that the green circle is the perk to choose, a yellow is a maybe, and red is do not pick, but I find this one to be very difficult to see at a glance, so I'm just not going to use that one at all. I'll still use the yellow as like a maybe, and the red is the path that I'd like to go. The one thing that I'm not able to use is this number of planned perks, but I didn't actually see this as like a necessary thing in my testing. I'm not sure if that's necessary at all, but yeah. And then there's a way to actually save and load perk builds. This is pretty interesting, but I'm probably not going to use it unless I see 2 people would like to have very similar builds. But I tend to stay away from carbon copies anyway, so. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through this with Aline and Belle says, and Belle say, yeah, please rename them. What I'm going to go for is looking through their perks that's available to them and showing you my path immediately, and as we hire new brothers and sisters, I'll go through the perk build off camera and then show you as we hire. I think I've chosen a good path for both of them, for Belise and Aline, assuming that they're both French. We've gotten lucky with alert and dodge and balance. So I feel like this would be a great path to go with Aline. And so initiative, melee defense, and melee skill. Some of these maybe we go for Duelist. Overwhelm seems like an interesting thing to go for since we're going with high initiative. Battle Flow, anything that reduces the current fatigue is probably a good thing to grab. Also, this Assured Conquest seems like a really good thing for Aline. If I decide to go for the sword, then we'll pick up Tempo, but I'm kind of looking at Mace Mastery, so I don't know, would a Duelist Mace build be fun? Yes. Would it be efficient? I'm not sure I care to answer questions like that, but I would like to continue thinking about fun builds while also finding interesting synergies. Right. So yeah, we're definitely going for an initiative build with Aline. And some of the other perks we might grab later, depending on which mastery we go for. I don't think we're going to go for Spear. Definitely not going for Polearm, so it's Spear or Sword or Mace Mastery. And then we can figure out some of the other perks to go for later that would pair well with either one of those. As for Belisay, I've kind of liked this Fruits of Labor for the Bannerman, or Bannerwoman in this case, because she's going to be old. That's a reduction to hit points, fatigue, and initiative, and Fruits of Labor is an increase to hit points, fatigue, and initiative by 10%. So we're going to be able to get some of that back. We're not going to be able to get all of it back, but at least some of it. Except we'll get more back for initiative because 10 is less than 10% of 118, which would be 11 or 12, depending on how it rounds. So we'd be able to get 7 more back here and 9 more back there from Fruits of Labor. I'm also thinking 9 lives because she's my Bannerman, and I don't want her to die. So 9 lives will get you that 1 extra oomph in order to survive. Although I've been noticing that 9 lives does not work sometimes. Am I saying that correctly? I've certainly had brothers during my testing. I tested a ton over the weekend just to kind of learn some of these perks and read them and play with a few of them. I didn't get too far into the games, but like 10, 20, 30 days for some of them. But I also wanted to just push some boundaries to learn about the enemies. I jumped into some crazy battles and lost several times just to see what the enemies brought and to see what we could handle. But I've noticed that 9 lives hasn't worked sometimes. They take a big hit and it's completely skipped. So I don't know what to think about 9 lives anymore. We could also go for Colossus, maybe Fruits of Labor and Colossus, in which case maybe Muscularity, but I don't really care too much about how hard she's going to hit. I want her to just be more of that support in the long game. Definitely taking Rally of the Troops. Maybe Brawny, Battle Forged, and Wears It Well. Maybe just Wears It Well instead of Brawny, I'm not sure yet. But I'm kind of thinking of putting her on the front line. I don't know if that's a great idea because she's going to get targeted pretty quickly, but she's going to be in the fight very frequently, so giving her some of the fatigue back from the penalties of the armor and what she's holding in her hands from Wears It Well. I'm not sure yet, but Clarity is also going to help with fatigue buildup because this is pretty expensive at 25 every time she toots that horn. Inspiring Presence, if she's the only one that's going to be holding that banner, probably want to take Inspiring Presence. I think that looks like an interesting one to take, and I've never used it before. Long Reach, for sure, and Polearm Mastery, most likely Polearm Mastery. Long Reach is an interesting one. It gives you the ability to be part of surrounding any enemy that you're within 2 tiles of instead of just adjacent to, as long as you're holding a polearm. If that's on the front line, that is a very large amount of enemies. That would be 2 away in this direction and in this direction. It wouldn't just be this one and this one. And what would it be? Like 1, 2, 3. It could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think. So anyway, let's think about some of these things. She's definitely going to be carrying a polearm. I'm not going to level or take any perks this episode so that we can kind of talk a little bit more. I will be leveling her up here, and kind of the same thing with Aline. I will be taking Alert, though, if she does level up. I think this one's a very clear thing to go for. She is aggressive. More melee damage, 15%. That kind of makes me want to go for Mace Mastery. And the other thing, we don't necessarily need to... If we don't go for a one-handed, we could go for like a two-handed sword, right? Those are still pretty decent against heavily armored enemies. We could go for the two-handed mace. Just depends on which path we're taking, and then we'll decide, is Duelist going to be worth it? And I'm not sure, but with aggressive, it kind of makes me think it could be pretty fun. The problem with aggressive is that she's -5 defense from each surrounding enemy, so we'll never want to put her on a corner, right? And for now, we'll definitely keep that that heater shield for her. She's also Night Blind. What do we have for you? You're old, lumbering. I feel like this is always the case. Lumbering, more damage, but less initiative. And strong, so more fatigue. That's awesome. 56 fatigue. That's great. Okay. Okay. So, well, let's go through this. We're definitely going to be taking melee skill. We're definitely taking some resolve for her almost always. And unfortunately, we don't have Fortified Mind for her. But it's going to be okay. It's not the end of the world. And I'm thinking some fatigue, although getting rid of range defense could be helpful. I don't think it's going to be necessary at this stage. Let's give her some more fatigue. But this would be a good way to think about, do we want to give her the melee defense? Because if she is going to go on the front line, then it might be nice to give her this +3, wouldn't it? So I think I might hold off on this altogether. I think I'm going to have to hold off on it altogether. And what I've found is when we get surrounded, we die very quickly. So probably not going to be going into many fights this episode, because I found that it almost always ends in horrific defeats, even against enemies that we should be killing pretty quickly. If we're surrounded and you're also aggressive, then they're going to be landing more hits, and we don't have the fatigue to swing twice. And for some really terrible reason, Battle Brothers has been punishing me left and right in my testing, and I almost certainly will miss the first 2 attacks from Aline. I've had 80+% chances to land hits, and I've missed both of them every single time. Talking about on the order of like 8, 9, 10 times that I've restarted this because I wanted to just see if that was a thing, and it happened every time. Every time. Alright, let's head to Blankenstein. I do want to hire very quickly because and buy some gear too, because I don't want just them to be going out, and I want to take some of these. See, even this one, Amber Collector near Blankenstedt, I've lost on some of these due to poor RNG. So I don't know how excited I am about going for them. I am excited about these though. Deliver cargo to Tanveler. Let's take a look at the map really quickly, and then we'll take a look at, there's Tanveler. We'll take a look at the potential hires, and then let's take a look at the Oath. Actually, let's take the Oath. Look at the Oath right away. Wow. Oh, this is a different house completely. Okay, I just saw the same colors. But we have our northern, the central, and the southern, and of course the far south. Gonna be difficult to get way over there. We do have a harbor here, but no harbor in the far north. Oh no, never mind. There's a harbor right there. Perfect. Cool. But in all honesty, I don't really care to use harbors that much. I usually just walk around the map, but I don't normally get a northern harbor, so maybe this time I might use it. We've got a huge fjord cutting right through this again. Funny how that works out. But there is still a way to, I mean, this will be very cheap to cross here, and there is a way to cross over right there and up here too, so shouldn't be too difficult to cross. We won't be able to cross here. Okay. So I think this is the Feste. Gipfelfeste is going to be one of our citadels, and Durfeste way down in the south. Cool, good. They're spread out. That's a very good thing too. And as I said, I believe in the past, I like having a citadel near the fog of war, because we can go kind of adventuring here and sell things off there. Rather than it being right in the middle and then it's harder to get to. But again, these are things that when I look at a map, I'm like, oh, this is cool, this is cool, this is cool. And then I totally don't think about them later on. So, all right. Well, let's camp. What I've been doing is just throw one into here. Whoops. One into the repair tent and one into the salvage tent. And we'll camp because it brings up this pop-up window. Now these are our starting 3 oaths. How the oaths work, if you haven't learned about this yet, is each come with a boon, a way to gain renown, and an extra way to gain renown, and a burden, which is a negative trait that everyone's going to have. Your men, in this case, Oath of Wrath, your men have -5 melee defense and -10 range defense, but we'll have plus 15% chance to hit when using two-handed or double-gripped melee weapons. Attacks will always cause fatalities. Renown will increase. And you gain extra renown for slaying your foes. So if we can kill 100 enemies in the next 10 days, while the Oath of Wrath is active, we'll gain extra renown. I don't know if 100 is a cap. I don't know if you kill 80, if you get 80% extra renown, and 100 is 100%, and if you go over that, if you kill 120, is that 120? I'm saying percent, maybe percent is not the right one. Maybe it's exponential. Like, as you're approaching 100, it's actually becoming closer to that 100%. I don't know how this works. I don't know. Let's check out these other ones. Oath of Sacrifice. None of your men take any crowns as wage, and we can't heal from injuries. I'm going to go ahead and say no to that. You gain extra renown for suffering no more than 4. Okay, this seems like something would be good when we have a few more brothers and sisters, and we don't want to pay them if they're all very expensive. And then we just have to make sure we don't take any injuries. More experience, less crowns for contracts. I like this one because all we have to do is complete some contracts. So, Oath of Humility. Let's stop doing that. Time to get moving. What we do is when we look at our brothers here, or sisters, Oath of Humility is right there. So we have a 10% experience gain, but it doesn't actually show what the negative, the bane or burden is. I think you do get to see that. Yeah, you do get to see everything up here. Well, I think let's take a look at the brothers, the potential hires. We don't start off with a lot of crowns, which is kind of a bummer. And our 2 Oathtakers are very, very expensive. But if we can maybe grab 1 or 2, probably not this, like a Daytailer could be helpful, very cheap daily wages. Coming in with a hammer, that could be helpful. That's really the only one. I'm going to want to take a look at the marketplace then to see prices for gear. I mean, we could take something like the wooden spear. It's not going to be very effective, but against enemies that don't have a lot of armor, it could be pretty helpful. I mean, we could grab that with the worst wooden shield they have, or even one of these. And it's going to hit, too. That's the other part that's nice about it. Increased chance to hit. You know, it's 14. We can grab, like this one is 73. And pick up a brother higher while we're here. Garibald? Ah, the theme. Of course, the theme. I don't think I've said the theme. The theme is knights. We are knights. We're looking to avenge the Legio X, of course. And the knights, the Oathtaker knights, have been sent out to do that. Or perhaps we left the Oathtakers to avenge Legio X on our own. Hopefully with Ansel's help. Well, they're pretty cheap to try out. My fear is that I don't have a lot of money to really spend, so maybe let's try out like Kuno here. Let's just hire him. Let's just hire Kuno. He's coming in with a hammer. And who are you? You're a widow. Not going to be very helpful. And then Goshok the boar. Let's hire him too. Alright, leave. And that might be enough to go for... Whoops, to go for that one skull. Take back the amber, I think is what it was. Let's go to the market. Take a look at our brothers really quickly. I'm going to sell this off really quickly. I don't want this. And let's see here. Oath of Humility. We have strong, so more fatigue, and a fear of nobles. That's not going to be too bad. Confident and double grip. Then we have determined and also aggressive. Okay. So probably want to head over here like that. We'll give you... Oh man, 3 stars in melee skill, just 1 here and 1 down there. Okay. They're definitely not people that we care to keep for very long. If they survive, cool. If they don't, then so be it. Let's grab this, and I'll still grab another one, sure. Alright. So let's get these guys into some gear. Sell that off, and just a tiny hat. Anything will do. That'll do well. Okay. Here we go. We've picked up a flagellant and Kuno the Daytailer. Now, if for some reason you'd like to be either one of these, just let me know in the comment section. If you want to just put your name on a list, then I'll find a good brother for you. If you have any ideas on what your perk tree would like to be, you can let me know that as well. If there are any historic names, female names for knights, then I would gladly rename these two by them. And we can learn a little bit more about history along the way. Okay, well, let's go with this. I tend to take the banner away from her, away from the bannerman, because I'd rather just give them another weapon. But in this case, because we have this going on, we have 4, let's go in with what we've got. And I think I'm going to just accept this contract and go for this. It's pretty cheap, it's only 1 skull. What could possibly go wrong? These people have nowhere to go, just leave them be or kick them out. No, we're paid to kick them out. Yeah, we've lost a little bit of morale. Okay, I mean, that was pretty simple. Right, easy crowns. And that's one of our contracts down. What else is available? 2 days. I don't think we're going to be up for something like that. Let's take this other contract and we'll be on our way to Tannenweiler. Okay, crowns well deserved. That's 2 contracts down. We are gaining less money for these contracts, but we're gaining more experience, whatever that means. Let's take a look. 18. It's a lot of experience, but it's more or less it's giving me the opportunity to just gain to see our first oath by just completing some contracts. Okay, so what do we have here? 170 plus 40 to drive off brigands in the deserted farmstead west of Tannenweiler. I mean, yeah, that seems fine. Let's take a look at the brothers again. Potential hires. I would like to hire somebody like this. He's already coming in. It's a poacher coming in with enough gear. We can just throw him right in. I kind of like this idea. Let's do this. I mean, we could bring in a bowyer instead. What would be... Are bowyers better? I see that they're more expensive, maybe, but are they actually better than poachers? This guy's actually... Oh, well, you know what? This guy's even cheaper. Is that saying something? He's going to be good at fletching. Fletching and gathering and, I assume, hunting. Yep. Scouting. Hunting. So this guy's better at fletching. And this guy's better at basically everything else. I kind of want to take the poacher only because I assume it's going to be better at shooting. So let's do that. Pretty expensive, but we do need these brothers. So we're going to put him back here. He's coming in with some pretty poor stats here. Nothing in range skill, range defense. Fatigue and initiative, we could go for those. Probably end up just using this. Ah, right. Well, let's go through this really quickly, and I'll be right back to show what the potential builds are for Ewerhard the Mad, Gostruck the Boar, and Kuno. Alright, so enough time has gone by here. I think some of the choices I'm making are fairly obvious here, but as always, feedback is very welcome, and I hope that we can start some interesting conversations about synergies and how things work and don't work because of this, so that not only I can learn, but anybody watching as well. So you were hard, the Mad. We're going with Poacher's Arm. That's just going to give him straight up 12 range skill and armor, 25% armor penetration while using any bad bows. We'll probably just continue using that, but at wonky bows and boondock bows, or reinforced boondock bows. Those boondock bows are from goblins, of course. And if we get better, then better range skill, then maybe we can graduate him. Of course, if he survives as well, then we can graduate him to the hunter bow at that point. You know, taking range supremacy, small game is going to increase the output damage from the short bow. Bow mastery, eyes up, ballistics is going to be pretty helpful, considering we'll get +1 range with range supremacy, and this is going to reduce the penalty to hit chance from range by -2 per tile. So I think those will work pretty well together. Flaming arrows, and then potentially target practice later. Dodge and relentless I might go for, and anticipation, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So I'm I think more than not, I'll be choosing more than 10 perks, and we can make those choices later. We're just kind of pushing these off later. Since he has a start in initiative, maybe going for dodge and relentless could be helpful. He does not have, what's it called? Overwhelm, which is really shameful. But we can go for things like that. I did mean to do this one too. Nimble, I mean, we want to go for some defensive things with him as well, right? Anticipation's probably going to be another good one because there's another star in range defense as well. Now, you might have noticed that I made a change here. Gostruck the Boar, let's give him the banner for now. Just for now, right? I'm thinking, since he has 3 stars in melee skill, let's give him a polearm eventually. And since we have a polearm, let's just give him the polearm now. Yeah, it's not the greatest chance, but 57 on a flagellant isn't too bad. I think that's the maximum you can go for. So we'll probably end up giving him bolster. I do want to think about that a little bit more, but I'm pretty sure bolster is going to be what we go for, because we'll go for that polearm mastery, but I'm leaving it open for discussion. True Believer, let's go for Fortified Mind. Maybe we'll take Rally the Troops as a secondary. He can be on this side, and not with the banner, but with another polearm, and he can still use Rally the Troops, and we can have our actual bannerman on the other side, kind of a thing. But my thought is with Fearsome, since he has that 3 stars in melee skill and 1 in resolve, giving him Fearsome with True Believer, Fortified Mind is going to be pretty helpful. Is it also... where's the other one? Oh, like Prayer of Faith. I think Prayer of Hope. Both of those will be pretty helpful. There was another one that I was considering, and I forgot to click it. Right there, Intimidate. Attacks from polearms hit or miss reduce the resolve of the target by a stacking 10% of your melee skill. Yes, I mean, if we're going for intimidation with Gostruck the Boar, who is aggressive and determined, then I think this is all a good fit for him, with some open-ended choices for later. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Right, and we can obviously make other choices that I haven't chosen, but I'm leaving that open we'll definitely be taking these red ones, and these will probably be taking all but one, right? But maybe we'll make another choice later. This Peaceable is going to help. It could be the one that we don't take, but it could be one of the ones that we do take. It would reduce its melee skill by 20 though. So it's a big loss in melee skill. But if we do end up on the low end at 87, then it's still 67. And if we end up on the higher end toward 97, then it's 77. So those aren't terrible chances of hitting, but it's also, we're also going to be using him for prayers anyway. That is, of course, if he survives. And then Kuno here. I think I'm just going to go straight for a hammer build with him with Colossus and Muscularity. We also have Hale and Hardy. I might as well take that with him. Sundering Strikes is a maybe. Nimble I threw as a maybe because it could be interesting to give him to keep a lot of fatigue on him and just he has a star in hit points, so let's give him a bunch of hit points. Let's make him difficult to hit and really hope for some high melee skill. Even if it's somewhere in the middle, 73 is not too bad, and I'm thinking Backstabber would be a good thing for him. But Internal Hemorrhage, Rattle, any of these are going to be really good. I left this one open just as maybe we don't take it, because all it does is reduces the targets when they are hit, of course. It reduces the target's damage output by 10% just for a turn. But that could be pretty good if we're stacking rattles out there. So maybe if we had a couple enemies, a couple brothers or sisters with hammers standing next to each other, then it's going to be reducing that incoming damage for the next turn for that enemy target. Cool. Well, this is how we're going to start, except we don't want that wooden spear anymore, do we? And we're really low on funds here, so I'm hoping... Yikes. I mean, maybe I just grab another wooden spear. Maybe I grab 2 more wooden spears. Is that what we're going to go for here? Because I don't have the money for basically anything else. Yeah, things are pretty rough here. You know what? I'm going to just be funny and just grab another stick. Maybe another one. They're really cheap. And if they break, so be it. And if they don't break, then that's fine. Oh, now she's encumbered. All right, we'll go for this. We'll go for this. Okay. Let's grab this one, and we'll see about... Oh, that's way over here. Deserted farmstead. I guess I was thinking something like this. Well, that's fine. Deserted farmstead. Let's go. Brigands. I hope they have food. Let's not hope they have food. Let's buy some food. How much food do we have now? 10 per day. That should be enough to get there and back. So many thugs. Oh, I'm not excited about that. Oh, it's... We're gonna do it, though. Just one poacher. So they should be coming for us. That's the case. Yeah. I mean, we have good chances of dealing with this, particularly because we have this now. Maybe I do send them up. Let's wait and see what they end up doing. Yeah, the problem is that they're going to have some pretty decent armor. I'm just going to sit here. I mean, decent. It's the beginning, so let's Let's be honest, it's not bad armor though. Okay, that's helpful. The other one that I wanted to bring in, options, mod options, is it here? Enhanced enemy tooltips. Now, I think it shows too much because it shows, let's see here, you for instance, it shows what they have in their bag. I'm not too excited about seeing that kind of information, but it shows the perks and the status perks that they have to give us an idea, like, okay, they have strength and numbers, right? They all have strength and numbers, so that's going to help them quite a bit in some of their statistics. But bully, heavy strikes push it because, you know, he's holding a mace, he's holding an axe, so heft. The thing about this is that I don't like seeing all of the information, but I do like seeing some of it. I'm going to leave it on, but just understand that I'm not going to always leave it on, right? There's probably going to be a time where I shut it off. Really. Because I'm seeing too much, like the items in the bags kind of a thing. And I also take, when I do see all of this information, I stare at it for too long and try and figure out what all of it means, so. So this is what we're gonna be doing here. I'll throw some. Let's wait. Yeah, they are coming in. Okay. What are our chances to hit? 67. So 57. Let's not do it yet. Yeah, I shouldn't have ended so quickly, but good hit. Good hit. All right. Kuno, hold back for a moment. 42. Now, exploit opening. See, you can see what his status effects are there. Oh! Interesting. Maybe that Kuno's going to be able to be helpful there. Oh, that was definitely not something I wanted to be dealing with there. 36. This is another thing. 15% engaged in melee. So I have to go for the one closest. And I miss. Okay. Yeah, that's super useless, right? Wait. This is such a problem in this. Good hits there. So we're going to be losing a lot of fatigue from this. Well done. As you can see here, we only have one swing left. And that did not help outside of just that one guy. Okay, well, we want to put that away and start punching. Good hit. This 15% reduction is gone because we're not stuck in melee anymore, so maybe we want to hit you. I have the worst luck in this start. This Origin, I have been losing over and over because I just have bad chances of hitting. Or sorry, not bad chances of hitting, I just constantly miss all of the time. There we go. That was very helpful. There we go. Let's move over here. I can't do repost. I could do something like a shield wall. That might be helpful for just making sure they don't hit. Let's do that. Although he's probably going for my shield now, isn't he? Yeah. And there goes my shield. Super. Good. Good, 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 good. Can I move? No. Okay. Let's see here. Let's wait. That was good. That was super. Okay. What a terrible fight. I have such bad luck in this Origin for some weird reason. He wants to stick around, of course he does. Finally. Run him down. Jeez. From what I can tell, you're just not supposed to win this. I have the worst luck playing this Origin. 1, 2, 3. Oh, okay, you already leveled up, but 1, 2, 3 level ups. And we've got some gear that we can finally use. This is like the hump for me. Getting through that first fight has been such a struggle for me in this game. I don't know, or in this Origin, and I don't know why. We're going to grab that axe. I think that's going to be a better one. We've got this too. You can use that. And we lost our shield. I can't believe we lost that shield already. But, okay. This is good. Now, I could use the mace instead. I think I want to stick with the hatchet, though. But I'll keep one of them, and I'll keep that as a thought. Maybe we go for that mace. Just for now, of course, we will go for the... we'll go for the polearm eventually. But... do we necessarily want to go for the polearm with her? We could go the mace route. We could go the axe route. So I'd like to keep that in mind. You know, it might be nice to keep her as a bannerman anyway. Like, give her the things as the bannerman would have rally the troops. And maybe we just have a backup bannerman and we have Gostruck is our bannerman. I don't think I like that idea. I think I would like her to be the bannerman, but I'll leave it open. I'll leave it open. Well, let's leave that for discussion. Let's go for, since we are going to be going the banner route, or sorry, the polearm route for Gostruck anyway, we will take bolster. That's going to help the... right, and then we click off of it. There we go. When wielding a polearm, increase the resolve of adjacent allies by 5% of your melee skill. So 5% of this is 2.5. Maybe 3. So we'll be able to increase the resolve of everyone standing around Goshchuk the Boar by 2 or 3. At the start of your turn, if you're not engaged in melee, trigger a positive morale check for adjacent characters with a 50% reduction of their resolve. Not bad. That'll be helpful in the long run for sure. We'll take the melee skill. I will give him resolve, and I'd really like to give him hit points and fatigue. Let's go for the hit points. Let's go for the hit points for now. Okay. Kuno. Kuno's going to be taking Colossus. One thing I wish this did, and maybe there's a good reason why it doesn't do that, but when I click on it, when I take the perk that's highlighted, then it gets rid of it. And maybe that's the reason it doesn't do that, is because of this. But it would be nice that I don't have to click back off of it in order to get rid of it. It's just a minor detail, but we'll go with Colossus. That'll keep Kuno alive a little bit longer. Not taking the melee skill in that case, but we will go range defense, or sorry, melee defense. Hit points. Those will always be the case, and in this case, resolve. And as for Aline, we'll go for alert. That's 20% more initiative. We'll always be taking melee skill. We'll always be taking initiative. I want to say we'll always be taking melee skill, but I need to increase these. And I think at this time I'm going to go with hit points. That'll get her up to 70 hit points. I really want to give her some more fatigue, though. This is going to be unfortunate because I'm probably going to be skipping melee defense pretty regularly because of that low fatigue that she has. But maybe we can find a way to reduce that. Yeah, she doesn't have any of those perks either. Oh, relentless. Oh no, sorry. Yeah, that's what balance is. Yeah, okay, so reduces the penalty initiative due to head and body armor by 30%. So it's not going to be doing that with fatigue, but it's going to actually give her a lot more initiative. But I don't have anything that's going to give her more fatigue except for battle flow. And again, maybe I'm just not seeing it. Maybe I'm not seeing what I'm looking for, but and we'll leave this until next episode, and then what we're just going to do is head to the Tannenweiler right now. Although I'm interested in seeing what this was, and if it's looking good, we might... Yeah, so this is where we'll leave it. I think we need to fix our gear. Yeah, we need to fix our gear, but that is just rabble. Some rabble, a poacher, and a few rabble poachers. But head back to Tannenweiler. There's no armor or nothing there. I was going to say we could fix our armor there, but we don't have the money either. But anyway, what I'll probably do is fight them, head to Tannenweiler, maybe do it the other way around. Maybe just camp for a little bit before we do that. Let's throw you into here. You're going to be good for salvage and repair. Let's put another repair. And hunter. I like the idea of hunter. Or gathering or scouting. Scouting would be a good idea. Let's do hunting for now, though. Okay. Okay, that'll do it for this episode. We'll leave it as is. And maybe run down to attack these brigands. I'm gonna have to fix up the gear for a little bit before we do that, though, and then finish up this contract, which will get us to 3 contracts out of the 7 that we need in the next 9 days. Not too bad. Not too bad. Okay, well, as always with these series, if you're interested in joining, then put a name in the comment section below of this or any future episode. Don't worry, I write a list down, and it's a first come first serve basis. I'm interested in historic or fictional knights. Of course, there are a wide variety of knights, both fictional and historical, and I'm very interested to seeing what you all come up with. We can learn a little bit about the fictional stories, legends, even, and history along the way about the knights, either historical, fictional, or your name for that matter. Though I would really like to have it historical female knights for our 2 leaders here. And I hope we can find some revenge for Legio X against the Greenskins. Cool. Well, I hope you're excited about this new series and you enjoyed this episode. If you did, you can let me know by leaving a like or a comment. If you're feeling ultra generous, you can follow the link in the description to buy me a coffee. Also, the Discord channel is up and running, so please do feel free to come join us. And with that, thanks for stopping by, and I hope to see you next time.